hear the word childhood, what do you think of? Siblings, tree houses, vacations? Well, when I hear this word, I think of Bobby. Bobby was the biggest, meanest, most prideful rooster I have ever known. Growing up, we owned lots of chickens, and we had a horse corral in the backyard, and we just put chicken wire around to keep them safe at night. And every morning before work, my dad would get up and go and feed the chickens, and then he'd open the gates. And that's when me and my brothers had to be on the constant lookout. We always knew where Bobby was. And so we got Bobby from a friend of my dad's who lived in town and could no longer take care of him. And the idea of having a rooster was pretty fun because we'd only had hens, and we thought, well, hey, we can hatch chicks now, and that's pretty fun. So the day we brought him home, we were all outside watching the chickens, and we realized as soon as Bobby met the hens that it was a mistake. Because as soon as he saw them, he turned into, so he was talked up to be a sweet, domestic, tame, sweet little thing, but as soon as he met the hens, he turned into this protective, demon-like guardian over the hens, and it was just awful. And at the time, my brother Zach was 2, and he was walking around, walking a little too close for comfort, according to Bobby, and he was clanging 2 screwdrivers together, 2 pointy metal objects. And so picture this, Zach clanging 2 metal objects together, and he's completely oblivious to Bobby, who was puffed up, just watching Zach. And as soon as Zach turns his back on Bobby, Bobby jumps into the air and kicks him in the back. And he was just 2. He was a little baby. And the horse, where we had the chickens, it was this big horse fence, and so it was pretty sturdy. So as soon as I saw that, I ran over to Zach, picked him up, and jumped onto the top of the fence. And we stayed there until Bobby got bored of us and walked away, and we felt like it was safe to come down. So, and that's when it all started. We knew from that point forward that there was no making friends with that rooster. So remember when I said that we thought it would be fun to have little baby chicks? We hatched chicks, and we had 7 roosters that year, and they all turned into miniature Bobbies. So one year when they were all full grown, my dad was the young men's president at the time, and he thought it would be a good idea to have all of the young men come and learn how to butcher and pluck and cook chickens. So they came out, and my brother Zach, who was 2, was wandering around the yard, and my dad was a little worried about this. He was like, okay, he pulled Zach aside, and he's like, all right, we're gonna have to cut their heads off. We're gonna cook them and eat them. He was being pretty bold because he wanted Zach to understand what was going on. And so Zach was like, okay. He looked like he was perfectly fine with it. So my dad was like, all right, which one should we do first? So Zach pointed to that one. My dad picked it up and carried it over to the butchering block and laid it down and cut its head off with an axe very humanely. And as soon as that happened, Zach, no, Dad, put its head back on. So he had to learn the hard way where chicken comes from. But our chickens were free roaming. Remember I said that we kept the gates open, so we had to make sure that the gate to our yard was always closed. And we had to always make sure there weren't neighborhood dogs in the yard. And one day, we noticed there was a neighborhood dog inside our yard, just a little too late. Some of the hens were spared, but we couldn't find Bobby anywhere. And this actually instilled a little bit of hope in me and my brothers. So we're walking around, we're finding the hens, and putting them back in the chicken coop, and then all at once we saw Bobby. The dog had buried him. He was head first in the ground in this fresh heap of dirt, and his feet were, his nasty crooked chicken feet were sticking out of the ground up towards the sky. And me and my brothers were relieved because we didn't have to worry about running away from Bobby anymore. We didn't have to lock ourselves in dog kennels to escape from him. We didn't always have to make sure we knew where he was. So when I think of my childhood, I think of how we all rejoiced the day that Bobby died. Thank you.